These cops straight up lied about Tyre Nichols, and they even lied in their police report. Guess what? We got the police report. Let's check it out, y'all. This ought to be good.
Pascal.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Pascal back at it again with another pop-up video. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and on Twitter, The Pascal Show. One word, hit that like button down below. And let's not forget to crush that subscribe button if this is your first time checking out this channel right here. Anyway, we got to jump into this story. You already know the story, this tragic story about Tyre Nichols, young 29-year-old man in Memphis, pulled over, actually just cut off at an intersection where he was pulled out and then brutalized by a gang of cops. Majority of them were a part of a group called the Scorpion Unit under the guise or under the leadership of their chief C.J. Davis, right? Now, there's been, obviously, we've talked about this in other shows before. There has been new information about the report, the first official report that was ever filed about their run-ins, the cops' run-in with Tyre Nichols. What's wild to us is that we've now understood and have learned recently that the reports that have been sent out here recently, or at least this first report that we have, was all fake, was fabricated, and was one fat-ass lie. So now we get to check it out for the very first time. You got to remember, this was a gang of cops. Not only just the 5 that you see, not only just the 5 black cops. There was a multitude of cops that are involved in this. Now there's 13, a collective of 13 cops that are either fired, have been arrested, and have been charged with certain charges, or are under investigation in internal affairs and whatnot. So we got to take a look at this because I didn't see this before, and I just recently got this from a viewer of the show, a fan and family member of the show, and I do appreciate the support. But I just recently saw this, and I was like, you know what? We need to take a look at this fake report as a family. This is the official report that was made after this young man was brutalized, laid up against a squad car while he was fighting for his life, thrown into the back of an ambulance, and then 3 days later lost his life. The information that's in here, we've already heard a lot about it, but the fact that we're actually seeing the actual fake report is still just jaw-dropping and astounding in my personal opinion. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of this. And like I said, this is very interesting. Okay, so it says, and of course there's the cussing pastor that's on top of some of these words. So I'm going to try to work my way through those parts here as much as I can. But let's get into this, shall we? It says here, on January 7th, 2023, at around 2026 hours, Officer McKinney, responded to an aggravated assault at Rains and Ross Road. Detective Martin observed a 2017 blue Nissan Sentra bearing a Tennessee tag, driving recklessly at a high rate of speed. The Detective Martin, observed suspect Tyre Nichols going west on Rains into oncoming traffic on East Rains Road before conducting the traffic stop. Detective Martin conducted a traffic stop at Ross and Rains using blue lights and sirens. Okay. Detective Martin made contact with the driver/suspect, Tyre Nichols, commanding him to exit the vehicle. Now, let me just say this. So far, let me just say, there is no body cam footage that confirms anything that has been that's being said here. Okay? We do not know anything. And of course, in this, they're sitting here saying, oh, it was observed that he was going west into oncoming traffic before conducting, and of course, E Rains Road at East Rains Road before conducting a stop. He conducted the stop, okay, commanding him to exit the vehicle. But the thing is we don't have body cam footage or dash cam footage showing us why they pulled him over in the first place. Now, they're saying that they were responding to, or they had responded to, an aggravated assault around that area. But the reason why they pulled this guy over, Tyre over, they're still not saying why, right? There's still no reasons so far. But let's continue. Let's continue here. And I know it's very, very small print for a lot of y'all. I'm just trying to give you guys what I see here too. All right. So they pull the driver / suspect, I guess, maybe because of this aggravated assault that was on Rains and Ross Road. It's just so strange to me. Okay. But he was down the street taking photos of a sunset minutes before he was pulled over. So this is absolutely mind-blowing to me. So let's continue here, okay? So they're commanding him to exit the vehicle, all right? Suspect Tyre Nichols was refusing a lawful detention by law enforcement officers, and he started to fight with detectives. Detectives noticed that the suspect, Tyre Nichols, was sweating profusely and irate when he exited the vehicle. Now, let me tell you this. Does it look like he was? Did it look like he was in that body cam footage? He seemed very coherent. He didn't seem like he was sweating not one droplet of sweat. Okay? There was no condensation on his face, let me tell you that. Okay? He straight up was talking to him and telling everybody to chill the F out. That's all he was saying. Chill, chill. You guys are doing too much. Sweating profusely and irate when he exited the vehicle. I call cap. Let's move on. And you see the video, all right? Fully in the video, it tells you a completely different narrative. Straight up lies so far. Okay, debunked. Detectives gave verbal commands to stop resisting, and then the suspect, Tyre Nichols, grabbed for Detective Martin's gun. Also a lie. Detective Haley gave verbal commands and then deployed his chemical agent, the mace, all right? Okay, Detective Haley gave verbal commands and then deployed his chemical agent. Let me tell you something. Let's keep it straight funky here. There were a multitude of officers screaming multiple commands at the same damn time. I think somebody said something along the lines of some reports saying something about 40 something, probably even more commands being made all at the same damn time. I mean, come on, guys, let's keep it real. Okay? Haley was not the only one making commands. Multiple cops were. Again, another thing that is a straight up lie. Okay? So and then he deployed his chemical agent. The chemical agent had no effect, and the suspect, Tyre Nichols, continued to resist. I did not see any resistance. In my personal opinion, did you? Suspect Tyre Nichols continued to fight, okay, as detectives gave verbal commands again to stop resisting. Detective Hemphill deployed his taser into suspect Tyre Nichols' torso area, but the taser had no effect. Like they're trying to make it seem like him on drugs or he high as hell. But let me tell you something, okay? Maybe it deployed and it didn't work out. Maybe it didn't work out, right? Maybe only one prong went in and the other one bounced off or whatever. I mean, sometimes those tasers are not, sometimes they don't work all the time. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they're not accurate, right? And if somebody is getting attacked in this kind of way, verbally, physically, and then also with weapons, I can see somebody just quickly just ripping it off of them, okay? Have you ever been tased? It's not enjoyable. Let's just say that. But let's continue here. Okay, so in the torso area, but it had no effect, the taser. So suspect Tyre Nichols pulled the probes out and began running southbound on Ross Road. I'm assuming it's still Ross Road. All right. So then certain roads or certain Mills and someone else pursue the suspect, Tyre Nichols, okay, and located him on Deer Creek, if I'm reading this correct. After a brief foot chase, suspect Tyre Nichols was detained at Bear Creek, all right, and Castlegate Lane. While attempting to detain suspect Tyre Nichols, he began actively resisting by pulling duty belts and grabbing Officer Smith by the vest. Unbelievable. He was given multiple commands to stop resisting, which he ignored. Chemical agent was deployed again, and it was ineffective. Detective Mills deployed his department-issued ASP baton while giving verbal commands to stop resisting, striking him several times in the right arm, attempting to get suspect Tyre Nichols to comply. Now, what's interesting is when we see that Sky Cop footage, it shows us a completely different narrative. We see this man who has already been held down by these cops. They're striking him. They're kicking him in the head. They're kicking him in the stomach. They are viciously brutalizing this young man. I've said it before, but beating this man within a millimeter of his life, all right, only for him to lose it 3 days later, his life. In no way was he resisting or anything. His hands were held back. And as this cop throws out this baton and says, I'm going to hit you with this, with using very colorful words, this young man's hands are already behind his back. They're already being held. He's already being held against his will by a bunch of cops while this particular cop is hitting him with that baton. Again, more of these things that are absolute lies. But let's continue. All right? Then they're sitting there attempting for him to comply. This man was, this man complied. Like there was nowhere for him to run, no way for him to go anywhere. This man was held against his will. It was done. They did not need to do all this extra stuff, but they decided to because of their own bloodlust. But let's continue. After several verbal commands, detectives were able to get suspect Tyre Nichols in custody. MFP, fired up the Memphis Fire Department Engine 55 and Unit 28 made the scene and transported the suspect to St. Francis Park in critical condition. Now, let me just say this too, which is ridiculous. When the EMTs showed up, they just stood there. They didn't go make it to the scene and then rush him off to the hospital. They just sat there and waited 20 some odd minutes before they did anything to aid this young man. Also, I'm hearing more information about that as well, saying that the cops did not even say anything to the EMTs that actually showed up at first. But still, no matter what, you can see what they physically did to this young man. The EMTs did not do a damn thing. They just stood there, and you knew for a fact that this man was in bad shape. You can see it. We could see it. All the way from the Sky Cop camera footage that we saw. Plain as day that this man needed help. He was falling all over himself. He wasn't speaking. He sounded belligerent, but it was only because his jaw was broken. So as much as they try to say, oh, the cops didn't tell him anything, those EMTs, their job is to look at people who are in dire straits. Their job is to notice when somebody needs help or somebody is severely injured. That one was a full-on in-your-face display of a young man in dire straits, and they did nothing, okay? Nothing. Let's continue, all right? Suspect Tyre Nichols' mother, all right? And I'm not going to say that stuff, made the scene and advised the suspect Tyre Nichols went out with friends, and she believes that they may have spiked his drink. What in the hell? Again, making up more and more lies about what happened to this young man. Again, you're bringing in the mother's voice, and you're trying to make up more stuff so that it could be acceptable for what you ended up doing to this young man, Tyre Nichols. And I don't care. Like, I'm sick and tired of people sitting there trying to go, he was definitely on drugs. That's why he did that and this, that, and the third. Just because, let's just say somebody spiked his drink, or he was on something, whatever it is, under the influence, for lack of a better term, that still does not justify the brutalization of this young man and the loss of his life. Okay? Sure, maybe he should have been arrested and all that during that time, but that does not mean that this man should no longer be waltzing on this planet, taking photos of sunsets, skateboarding, and being a good son and a father to his child. These guys robbed this young man of a life that was worth living, all because he ran away. Again, these cops all worked together in unison, not only to abuse their power, they assaulted this young man, used extreme excessive force on this young man, and then they all corroborated together, and you hear it in the body cam footage, to lie. They corroborated a story just so that they can save their own butts, when you know for a fact there were multiple laws that they're supposed to be protecting. They broke, that were broken right there in that body cam footage or in that Sky Cop footage that we all have consumed with our eyes. Again, that's just one of the lies, of the many lies that has been written on reports. They falsified documents. They lied. And this is just one person putting out this information. This is one cop filing this information. It does make you wonder how many other reports have been filed that have been filled with nothing but lies on other people. How many other victims? How many other people have become victims after crossing paths with individuals like these? It does make you wonder. And again, I still say it, and I'm going to keep saying it again. That Chief Davis is the one who's watching over all these guys and is allowing a lot of this stuff to fly right under the radar. But this time, that Sky Cop caught them all. So I hope we get justice. And I hope this justice goes deeper than I think a lot of them are expecting. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Okay? Where do you stand on this? To me, this is falsified documents. Come on, man. Falsified documents on something that tells us something. We see something completely different now. We see a completely different narrative. There needs to be justice for this young man. Okay? Point blank, period. So comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Where do you stand on this? Don't forget to hit that like button and most definitely crush that subscribe button. Be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. And of course, any other information about this case as it starts to come out even more, for a fact, I'll be right here to chop it up with you guys, because we need to talk about this more often and bring more light to justice, and especially justice for this young man and the many others that have been screwed over by the Memphis PD. Anyway, guys, that's the show. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys in the next video. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.